Hello, people. This is not the live that I had planned, but I'm gonna tie the two together because, um, as many of you may know by now, it's everywhere. Um, Paris Hilton was TikTok is now taking the video down, and that's a very good thing because even the blurred parts are very sad. And I've been following Perez since, I mean, this dude was, and well, is, he's not dead. Um, he is getting the help that he needs finally after a long standoff. But on the live, it was him and like three other people, and he had just gone to the zoo that day. Like, I don't know if it's the heat or what, but you never really know what someone is going through mentally. You just don't. And I'm glad that people are not blaming it on the weather. I'm glad that people aren't blaming it on anything. They're actually, even if you hate Perez Hilton, which most people did back in the day, but he is the first entertainment blogger. You can't take that away from him. And if you go to his feed, like he was just posting pictures yesterday morning and afternoon with his family and his kids, like, and then hopped on live, started talking about the Bible, Joyce Meyer's Bible specifically. It was the third one that he got, and it just broke his brain mentally. He got on the live, he started taking his clothing off, and grabbed a kitchen utensil and started harming himself with it all over the place to the point where he was covered head to toe in blood. This is very, very, very scary. This is where a lot of people on TikTok are, you know, being unalived. I hate that word, but I don't want this message to get taken down. So, if we could just send all of our positive vibes and prayers, and if you like candles, light candles. He has three beautiful children and his spouse. Like, this is something that the government doesn't care about here in America. They just don't. You can say that you can tell that somebody's a little off. Um, I myself am disabled, and part of it is my mental struggles, and I've always been very, very open about my mental health. Nothing in the world has ever been able to take Perez Hilton down. He's Teflon. I mean, he started blogging. He started the entertainment business. He started digging in people's lives, and he started pissing a lot of people off. But we're talking about like late 90s, early 2000s. Perez Hilton has become a staple in entertainment. And to watch somebody go from being perfectly fine in the morning to slicing and dicing their being on live. And let me tell you, so this video is about censorship because there's a lot of it going around. But I had to open with that because this is somebody who has been bullied for censorship a lot. From beginning to right now. This guy is the most bullied person, and he's never gave a fuck. He is unapologetically himself. He started all this business before we even had all this crazy technology, and he started this. He's the reason that we have content creators. He's the reason that we have internet people. You know, we can go to these people and find out what's going on in our, before the TikToks. I mean, damn, going all the way back to MySpace and even before then. And him and TMZ used to go round and round and round. Everybody hated this dude. But he has never been able to be broken. nor has he ever showed any kind of dire straits where his mental health is concerned. And you just don't know. Now, some people, if it wasn't on TikTok Live, the people, his friends that were in the group, it's very disturbing. You can go find the blurred out vision of the video if you want. I don't recommend it, even though it's blurred. It's it's soul crushing. It is scary to think that this man is happily married, he's got three angelic, beautiful children, and then he just goes on live, and his friends are like, when you see his friends' reactions, they're like, dude, why are you taking your clothes off? And again, people are like, well, it's hot in California too, but he lives in Miami, Florida, by the way. So this is not a California thing. He's over there in Florida where it's hot all year round, but right now they're really, really getting it. And so people were like, oh, this must be a prank. This must be a joke. Then he went to the kitchen, and his friends were still kind of like, okay, what's going on here? And again, I don't recommend anybody watching it. TikTok has taken it down, but it was up for so many hours that now you can Google it and go find it anywhere. So this is why I didn't know that this topic was going to come out. I knew that I was coming on here today to talk about censorship and why we're going to be moving all of our lives over to our, go to the website, and or you can just look up Please Excuse Her. I'm not trying to play toys right now. Please Excuse Her on YouTube, because I'm tired of being told that I live in America and where I have free speech, and I have to make up stupid words to dumb down the totality of things that are real. We're not allowed to use legal terms anymore. We're not allowed to use medical terms anymore. We're not allowed to smoke anymore. We're not allowed to do a goddamn thing anymore. And there's three of us podcasters and content creators who have been covering the David case since September 8th last year. And we keep getting shut down because they say that we're exploiting children or small people, whatever you want to call them. This is the kind of shit I shouldn't have to think about the words that I'm going to use. I have free speech. Now, granted, TikTok, I understand that you're a Chinese company, but here in America and in the UK and most other places that are, making their content and stuff, we have to, because the young people of the world have feelings. We have adults getting bullied. We have kids being bullied. Bullying is a part of life, and I don't stand for it at all as somebody who was torturously bullied all throughout my school years. So it is a very, very sad situation that we're in, where this is people's livelihoods. And now we're talking about their lives. And I started to see a decline because his videos kept getting taken down, because he just doesn't give a fuck, and neither do I. That's hence the whole name of the brand. More people need to stand up and fucking demand answers, right? We got Kash Patel kicking it and chugging beers with the hockey players. Trump's probably starting wars we don't even fucking know about again. Everybody's going bananas. But when you start censoring Americans and telling us we can't say certain words that you're going to hear in a hospital, you're going to hear in a courtroom of law, the biggest thing that we're getting taken down and dinged for is the D4VD case. I refuse to say his fucking name because he's a diabolical piece of shit. I don't think he was thinking about his young sister when he was doing this stuff to people. We'll claim that. But Celeste Rivas Hernandez's family is sitting there in their courtroom day after day. Now they got the trial date, all this stuff. The pictures, and they're graphic. They're so fucking graphic. If you've ever, I mean, if you never go without seeing a liquefied 14-year-old girl on a morgue table and they're having to piece her back together, that shit is being shown in what was the preliminary trial. Now he's been charged. Now he's got trial starting on September the 8th, which I find fitting since that's when she was found last year. So we're not allowed to talk about the things that we research. We're not allowed to talk about the things that are real. Like, I know I'm not the only true crime fanatic in the world. And I specifically like working with women and children, specifically of ethnic races, Hispanics and indigenous, because we go missing all the time. Our little kids go missing all the time. And then we get on here and we plead for help, and then y'all take the videos down. Her family wasn't even allowed to talk about anything that they knew or said or anything because the ICE raids were going on in Los Angeles. And not all of her family is legally here. So there's a whole bunch of shit that goes on into researching, pulling up documents, filing FOIAs to get the information and get it to the public as quickly as possible. And YouTube is censoring one of my favorite podcasts because they're saying that even though he redacts everything that, he's very professional. He's super professional, as a matter of fact. And he does everything by the book, and he's a legit individual journalist in the UK. But he covers a bunch of cases here in the United States, topics and crimes of interest to the public. So that's why those of us who work in death and crime and self-harm and all of these things, that's why we won't shut up about it. How many more people have to die before anyone in the government gets off their ass and says, hey, this is a fucking problem? But now, I guarantee it, TMZ goes live in 35 minutes? Please believe they are going to spin a narrative that I already know I'm going to want to bash my TV over. They are going to milk this for everything they can. And they don't even ask why. They're not going to ask how he is. They're just going to give you the facts, right? Their facts, their sources, whatever. So we have trash TV tabloids that can go on and say whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. We have rappers, rolling, and it's not just rappers. It's, I've caught Post Malone doing it too. I'm saying white rappers. But they get to get on TikTok, Instagram, Discord and Twitch. They don't care about anything. But X, all the main ones that we use, Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, are telling us that we can't talk. It's not appropriate to talk about a mutilated 14-year-old girl found in the front trunk of a Tesla, to a 20-year-old man who did that to her and had the audacity to just leave her there and go on tour. Like, what? I got a 5.5-hour video on David on YouTube. I just can't even stand this kid. Like, his name, his face, it's just volatile. Diabolical, even. There's not a harsh enough word for this case. The censorship in this country, I don't give a fuck where these apps come from. I don't care. I'm an American, and I should be able to say what the fuck I want to say. Now we're... goodbye, cancel culture. We can't... all of us came out, or Gen Xers, all of us came out, all of us old people, and we're like, no, this is not going to happen on our watch. Somebody said something 25 years ago, and all of a sudden they're a fucking racist. What? I'm watching a show right now that I love. It helps me go to sleep. It's called The Summer I Turned Pretty. The girl in the show, and it's a very popular show. Young girls are watching this all over the place. It's been out forever. The young girl, Belly, Isabella Conklin, in the books and in the it's on Prime TV, Prime Video. She is 16 years old. Actually, she's 15. She's turned 16. And she's been in love with this dude who's like 2 years older than her. And they finally hook up. And she's under 18. She's still in high school. And he's in college. And we're like this. Go, Team Conrad, Team Jeremiah. Like I'm literally watching it on TV. And that's okay. But it's not okay. It's not. I'm getting tired of women fighting, young women that is, fighting for their rights. Bitches, go back to school, read a history book. You have your rights. I have entered every industry that a male told me I could not do and did their jobs better than them. I love a good challenge. But mothers, fathers, grandparents, whoever you are, you know that you have some kid that's attached to you some way, somehow. But why, when we talk about mental health, are we only talking about children? And that's coming from somebody who saves children, goes out of my way to make a stampede and stand up for these kids, whose parents, quite frankly, like mine were, desert them and leave them to fend for themselves. But you want they come on here and try to use these platforms to reach out, and they're getting censored, and then they're, offing themselves because of it. Now, I don't know if that's what happened to Perez. All I know is he needs prayers and his family needs prayers. And what he did was the most disturbing thing I think I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen Celeste Rivas's autopsy photos. So, just when I thought that, all these wars and this, that, and the other, whatever, was, when did we start telling people how to feel? When do we start letting doctors and insurance companies tell us what's wrong with our brains? With no scanning, no nothing, just, oh, you've got this. My brother actually went to a psychiatrist when he first moved here, and I went with him. And because he told me this dude literally looks up symptoms in an old doctor book, like a dictionary for doctors. That is exactly what he did. And then he took all the symptoms and said, go wait in the waiting room. And then my brother comes out with a grocery sack of fucking pills that he doesn't need. Mental health. I made a video about MGK whenever he was doing the show in Indiana. I said, that man is not well. And what happened? He just did an interview that is the rawest form. And he speaks way more eloquently than I do. But he was so real about his own suicide ideations. I struggle with it. Many people in my family who are not alive here anymore struggled with it, if you get my drift. There's just... people need to be uncomfortable. That's my point. If you're not uncomfortable, if you are uncomfortable, you're going to do anything that you can to get comfortable. Well, I want you to get comfortable with this. Mental health is fucking real. And here in America, it is not being treated. My husband works for the Union Hall. I won't say which one, but we have the best insurance. But you know what they don't cover? Mental health. With somebody like me, who is disabled, both physically and mentally, it is Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing actually? You tell me to talk through my feelings. Cool, I talk through my feelings. I watch what y'all are going through. I try to help y'all as much as y'all help and give back to me. But this censorship has to fucking stop. Little kids are not going to run around and say, oh, so and so said, suicide. So, now that's stuck in my brain. No, you're probably sitting next to someone, if you're not the kid that's complaining, that is having ideations of self harm. The censorship has to stop. Stop telling people what they can and can't say. You have to cut it out. If you're here in America, shut the fuck up, sit the fuck down, and wait until somebody calls for your hand. Don't hold your fucking breath unless you're going to come out here and speak the truth. What I just witnessed is, y'all thought Britney Spears dancing with knives was scary. That is probably the least scariest video I've ever seen. She's just dancing with knives, and people called, and luckily people that were on the live, they were calling immediately, and it was this huge standoff overnight, and he would not come out. His brain mentally broke on TikTok last night. We saw not a Kanye West delusional tyrant. No, we saw a real human who does real work in the entertainment world, whether you like that or not. I don't care, and he sure as hell don't care. Who was having a great day, seemingly. Why do I say seemingly? Because apparently he wasn't having that great of a day. If you're chilling with your homies and your kids, your wife or your husband, and you're at the zoo and you're doing all these things and you're posting, and then you go home and you get on TikTok live and start covering yourself up and running around naked, that's somebody who hasn't been fine up here for a very long time. Am I scratchy again? Thank you. But one of the biggest reasons that I did come on here, I just caught up with this case just now, actually, before I came on live. Hold on one second. My husband and I, our podcast, we are moving it straight over to YouTube. So I'll post highlights here, but I'll put in the description. Go find us on YouTube, or all you really have to do is just click the website. It's free. I don't get paid for the website. I actually pay to have the website up. And there's different things. If you're here for me for tarot, there's a tarot drop down, the 30-minute meals and under $30. There's things like that. All of our different stuff that we have. And my AI secretary, she actually takes each episode of our podcasts, moves them to the right channel. So all you have to do is go on there and click episode 2 of mine and my husband's podcast. It's about mental health, because he's talking about what it's been like for the 25 years of our lives that we've been together. I'm not an easy person to deal with by any means. Mwah. I am not an easy person to deal with. I have a lot of trauma, and I do the best that I can. And every day that I wake up, I look out my lovely window there, and I thank God for another day. I stay positive. I keep busy. I take my medication. I got flagged the other day for saying Xanax. Some people really actually fucking need it. But because it's being abused, now the doctors are like, okay, well, where does this go? Back to mental health. These medications, they're throwing gabapentin like it's a Pez dispenser, like it's candy that goes in a Pez dispenser. Gabapentin is not for fucking anxiety, by the way. They're trying to put you on anything so they don't lose their licenses over doing their fucking jobs. I've gone on the other PAMs. They don't work. I also have to take beta blockers as well because my anxiety stays so high. It's just the way my body is. You'd think I'd be a lot skinnier. But I am always running like this on the inside, constantly. And when stuff like this, I see this, I got out of the shower and it's like all these notifications, and I'm like, what the hell happened? This news is hitting everywhere. And so, since I was going to talk about um, all of this censorship bullcrap, it just made sense to let y'all know that you never know what the person next to you is going through, and nor do they know about you. Our animals get depressed. If we're depressed, they're depressed. If we're happy, they're having the best time of their lives. This shit is contagious. It is a sickness. It is a disease. And I say contagious because if you've ever lived with a real mental patient as myself, I'm not restricted, that was just a pop-up. Um, we're very difficult people to deal with. We can be laughing, we can be having a great time. On my medication, I do pretty well. And I don't have any hormones whatsoever. We took care of that back in the early 2000s. No hormones, no nothing. But can I snap? Absolutely. But you don't want to hear that snap. Because I have a lot of PTSD. I have a lot of trauma bonds. I have a lot of triggers. And as you get older, thank you, Teresa, I love you. As I get older, and as all of you young people that find this video, as y'all get older, you start to become a more educated, and thank you, babe. Thank you. As you get older, it starts to hit you because 18 is just the number, 21 just the number. You have to learn how to be mature. You have to learn how to coexist amongst the people outside of your homes. The scariest part, it's not gangs, it's not drugs, it's not violence, it's not this, it's not that. It's when you get that phone call in the middle of the night. MGK has a very famous saying, and I want it tattooed on my body. It's a lyric. He says, because one day we're hanging out, the next day you're hanging from a rope. That happened to his friend just last year. And that really hit home for him. That really did, because I've had a lot of loss in my family and with my friends. So when you start telling people what they can and can't talk about, guess what? They shut down. They shut down. And you got the government, and like I said, TikTok's run in China. I am not Chinese. I am a mutt, don't get me wrong. My uncle had a saying for us, we're Chicunis, half Punas and half Chicano. But I'm also Native American as well. I struggle. Even when I take my medication, I take my medication religiously. I don't take everything they throw at me. I'm on 4 medications for my brain. Leave everything else alone. I'm fine. Leave me alone. So, because we keep getting dinged, it's funny how this video isn't getting dinged. Because I would really fucking hate to see that it took somebody so famous to do what he did live, and then they left it up for almost 11 hours. The whole fucking world's trying to figure out what's going on with Perez Hilton, and he moved over to YouTube also and still was getting censored. How do you want us to talk about our feelings if we're not allowed to use certain words? Acts of violence. You have to rage. That's why they invented rage rooms. You go in there and you could just rage and you have to get that funk out. It's like dirty, smelly trash stuffed right here in your soul and in your heart. And eventually, people are like, bitch, you gotta be, oh, there's something off with you. At that point, it's already too late. They need to get help and they need to get it fast. The moment that you realize something's off with your homies, something's off with your kids, you need to be on that shit like flies on shit. Like you need to be on it. Because if anybody is acting out of character or they're isolating or they're just doing something and you're like, hey, maybe I should ask, but maybe it's not my business, ask. Every life is everybody's business. Every living thing has a purpose. And we just can't keep doing this. And I would hate to, if TikTok, because I haven't gotten one restriction yet, and I'm saying all the words that I want to say. I would hate, but I would take TikTok down in a heartbeat if they're over there talking about uncensoring us finally because of what just happened. That would be tremendously unfortunate, and I hope to God that his family sues the fuck out of the TikToks. Mental health is a disease. Yes, we take medicine, just like if you're diabetic, you got your insulin or whatever you're on, high cholesterol, you're taking your, Lipitor, whatever illness you have. But y'all have to understand that our brains work the same fucking way. We get jumbled up chemicals in our brains. So when you start throwing medication at a mental person on your first visit, you don't even have enough information to do anything with. And here in Texas, they'll do it. They'll be like, gabapentin, give them 5-6 bottles. I could take those 5 or 6 bottles and still be standing and not able to sleep. Can you ask what? I'm not doing readings right now. I do that shit at night. It is terrifying that not enough people are speaking up. And so my friend, who is really getting censored, they're actually taking down his videos. He's getting fines. He's getting death threats. All this crazy shit for covering the Celeste Rivas Hernandez case. And he's fighting back. He is fighting back, and they're giving him some of his content back, but not without putting their redactions, their blurs, their this, their that. So he gets to do all the hard work. He's flying back and forth from the UK to Los Angeles to cover the case in person. That's how invested we are in this case. How does that happen to a 14-year-old girl the day before her birthday, and Nancy Guthrie goes missing, and that's the top story? No offense to Nancy or the Guthrie family, but she's 84. She lived a great life. On the other hand, it's Los Angeles. There's no problem with the rich white kids. I'm just going to say it. With the rich white kids that live in Beverly Hills, Montesino, San Diego, whatever. But at the heart of what Los Angeles is, it is a melting pot of Hispanic and indigenous people. They go missing by the hundreds and thousands and probably millions in a year. And you will only hear about the ones that people want to talk about. You don't know what they're not telling you. Because it's censored. We have to. So basically, here, let me wrap this up because I got to go do something. But you want to censor what we're saying because it's just too triggering for people to hear those certain words, but they can go out into the free world and they're going to get triggered anyways. If they're not allowed to talk about what triggers them on platforms, kids used to be able to come on here and they would beg for help. There have been plenty of issues like this Perez Hilton one, even worse on Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and TikTok Lives. People have done themselves away with. Nobody's in a hurry to put no restrictions on that. They let that shit go, go, go. Because you know why? Because every time you click, they're making money. How much money, how many clicks does it take to save a child's life? To save anyone's life? I don't care whether you're 84 and you live this awesome life, or you're 4 minutes old and you can't breathe. We have to fight for everybody. And it has to be on an even kill. Trust me, you think you're protecting the children of the future people and leaders of our country. I gotta say, they're some of the sissiest people I've ever met in my life. They have no structure. Their parents were never home. They're all on drugs. There was just a drug bust in our neighborhood around the corner yesterday. They are infiltrating schools. They're doing all these crazy things. But then when somebody like me, who's at the top of the neighborhood, watch, and I watch the next door act like a hawk, I get censored. Because I can't talk about, how bad I worry about my child when she goes running. Now she can't even go to that park anymore. Luckily, school has started. She's going to figure somewhere else to go run. But I get on YouTube and talk about it, and it gets taken down. So tonight, we're going to be doing our podcast. We're going to do it from here tonight. It'll also be on YouTube as well. The website is the easiest way to get to us. We are going to be talking about... What are we talking about tonight? Oh, being broke, having kids as teenagers. How did we do it? How did we get where we are? And how did our marriage actually survive the D word? Boom, 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 boom. We're looking to go on at 5. And I'm going to go try and find some more information out about Perez. But TikTok, you got to cut it out with the censorship, man. This is going to continue to happen. His livelihood is being able to talk shit about celebrities. When you start censoring somebody who's been doing this for 2+ decades, you're taking food out of his kid's mouth, out of his family's mouth. Comedians are being censored. Everybody's being censored because everybody's got sensitive feelings. I don't give a fuck about a person with sensitive feelings. Point blank, period. That is it. I'll tell you the good. I'll tell you the bad. I'll tell you the ugly. I don't give a fuck. Because if you're offended, that's a you problem, not a me problem. So I'll see y'all tonight, probably about 5 o'clock. We're going to give the instructions. Just use the website to get to our podcast. And I will always come on here and tell y'all when we are going live. And yes, I will be going live tonight. It'll probably be earlier in the day because when I do take my medicine that is prescribed to me, I usually try to eat and take my medicine before 6 p.m. Then I take a nap. When I wake up, it's usually between 12 and 2. So I'll jump on here and do a 30-minute free read. Okay, so that's what I have for y'all now. Now I'm going to go do a podcast. Bye.